Hi, and welcome back. My name is Don Saunders, and I'm the narrator of The Knowledge. The knowledge provides the power of knowing how life works. And we're sharing the information on YouTube and social media sources so that people get to understand how this craziness that we're living in works. And it's really amazing to me, quite honestly, but I know the source and you don't, to be blunt, that people will listen to just about anything on YouTube. There's hundreds of thousands of YouTube videos, but yet I haven't been able to focus them on learning how life actually works. And I understand that. You're looking at a talking head here, an older guy sharing information, and all you can think about is this is his philosophy, this is his theory, but it's not. It's the actual facts of how life works. And how I know that is that I get affirmations every day when I focus on something. For example, I focused for a while on the spiritual side of life. So I studied a little bit about Moses and Jesus and Muhammad. And basically, after studying them, because of the way the YouTube algorithms work, I was flooded with information, and that information were affirmations about the information that arrived 15 years ago in this download that I share with you. And those affirmations are amazing. And I wish I could get people to understand that what I'm sharing with you is not my philosophy. It's not my theory. This is information that we tapped into in the universal consciousness, and I was sent the information to answer questions that I had asked my entire life. And if you go back through the videos, you'll see that we gave you the 4 questions of life. And if you ask those questions, you'll get answers. You just have to be patient. You have to be tolerant of the world. And then you have to receive the information. But where I'm going with this is I want to tell you that when I focused on spirituality, I got answers to spirituality. A lot of it was AI, and they're getting that information from some place that they don't even realize it's coming from just yet. And that'll be a fun conversation as we progress. I think I've shared some of it in the past. But along with AI, if you go back and go all the way back to the time when radio was your device for distribution of information. Then you had black and white TV, and you fast forward that into color TV, and then before you know it, we're getting information from Walter Cronkite, for example. And we trusted Walter to give us information, and younger generations not even going to know who that guy is, but the older demographic will understand what I'm saying to you. We trusted the media to give us the input and information, and we didn't care what channel it was on or where it was coming from. And these days, we are so separated and so segmented, and we have been led to believe that the media giving us false information. And so we start to believe that. And so all of the channels that have separated from each other, CNN, Fox News, all of that information has basically alienated us from each other because the information that we receive aligns with our realities, and the groups that get together that associate with each other, and that goes back to one of the original videos that I talked to you about. But basically, when we associate together and we follow a particular leader, before you know it, we have separated into such large groups that we don't know the truth anymore. And what I'm asking you is to disassociate and disengage, not give up your belief systems, but just lower the intensity, lower the rhetoric that's being talked about throughout the whole universe right now. And I'm saying the world is all we can really touch on. But I'm just going to tell you a couple of examples here. What happened to me when I studied spirituality is because of the algorithms in YouTube, all of the spirituality videos started popping up. And I learned about Buddhism and all of the basic religions. Didn't learn a lot about them, didn't need to. I understand where they come from. But then I started studying science. And here's where it got interesting. And that's what's driven this video today. Because when I started focusing on science, the information that was coming to me were all affirmations of the information that came in the insights when the knowledge was downloaded through me on November 17, 2009 at 6:24 a.m., to be very specific. And that information that's coming to us through the scientific papers is going to discuss with you how life actually works. And the one that really caught me off guard came yesterday. Because when the insights arrived 15 years ago, one of the insights was that our creator is not really a creator. It's basically quantum entanglement. And what that means is that the article that I read had to do with mass being part of and coming from a vacuum. Now, what does that mean? That means that if there was nothing in the beginning, then in a vacuum state, something can come from it. And let me try to pull this together a little bit. One of the very big questions when I was studying spirituality was an interesting topic where people said, if there is a God, who created God? And that's what I'm talking about. We're going all the way back to the beginning of nothingness. And you'll hear me state our only goal right now is to get back to oneness or nothingness, all the same conversation. Back billions of years, we're spending every incarnation that we have. And I'm going to tell you, it's not just Earth that you're on. Every few years, you're going to pass away and come back as a different source, or you're going to go to another dimension. That's just how life works. And we're going to keep recycling until we get it right. Until we learn what to do and what not to do. If you study the 4 questions of life, you'll realize that that's the second question, the answer to it. So I don't want to ramble on and on about this. I want to straighten this whole thing out. By watching the scientific videos, by focusing, by believing that there's answers that are going to show up in front of me, I was able to attract more answers. And they keep coming every day. And if you start focusing on the science behind how life works, and then you keep your belief systems using spirituality, then basically what you're doing is you're creating your own reality from the information that you're focused on. And people use the word very lightly, manifesting. I don't care whether you manifest or you pray, doesn't matter. It only works one way, as you've heard me say thousands of times already. And the fact is that if you stay focused and you believe that the answers are available, and then you receive those answers when they come along, then all of a sudden you put a smile on your face, like I have in the last few days of studying scientific discoveries. Then basically what you've done is you've affirmed your life. You've affirmed the information that has created your reality. And we're not asking you, and it's not me anyways, it's the knowledge when it arrived, was asking you to simply think and observe what's going on around you. And that includes all of the things that are happening in this world. We're watching the weather patterns, and you're watching war take place, and you're scratching your head at the end of every day saying, why are they doing that? What is this all about? It's because of the lessons that we have to learn before we can take the journey, continue the journey, the eternal journey back to oneness. And you're going to come back here a few times. You're going to recycle, just for fun, I'm going to tell you, you're going to come back here 7 times. And each time you're going to learn more lessons. And it's going to be in a different dimension. You're not going to be able to remember who you were before you got here. But the fact is it's happening. And where I'm going with all of this is there's a shift taking place right now. And that shift is in consciousness. And I keep saying this, and I'm sorry if it's redundant, but it's either universal consciousness or God consciousness or cosmic consciousness. Label any of it the way you want to label it. Because it doesn't matter. Because it all works exactly the same way. And if you feel that you have attracted the right answers, then they'll resonate with you and they'll stay with you. That's why you all have different opinions. That's why you all follow different leaders, if you will. Because everybody thinks differently. But I want you to really focus on the good things. Stop associating and stop engaging with the crap. And that's a blunt way to put it. But that's what's out there. And if you can determine and if you can decide what's the good information and what's not going to serve you, then you're on your journey. I understand why we are not out there the same way that the gamers are. We only have, we got 50,000 views and 100 followers, 100 subscribers. That doesn't disturb me because the people that have found us, the people that have subscribed, are the people that get it. And then they're going to share it. And when they share it, the world is going to start to change simply because they're going to understand how this whole thing works. And they're going to back away, they're going to disassociate, they're going to disengage, and they're going to create a reality for themselves that they know is correct. I had one guy, I talked a little bit about cults in the last video. One guy came back to me and says, you better look up the definition of cults in the dictionary. No, I don't have to, because when the knowledge came to me, it gave me the definition that I needed. And that's the fact that we're following leaders. They all have agendas. Then we tell our neighbors and friends and we get them to follow the same situation. Stop all of that. Create your own realities, because that's how life works. And if you look at it from the opposite, you look at all these people that have joined together in these associations, and then you understand that the world has gone crazy. Everything about this world right now, people don't understand. But you can fix it. You can fix it by creating a good life for yourself, by having love and compassion the way you were taught from the very beginning. You didn't arrive like this. You created this. And now disassociate from what you've created and start it all over again in a much better way. That's enough for now. My name's Don Saunders. Please join me in future videos. Please focus on having a good life, because that's how life works. Thank you.